ஓம் ஐந்து கரத்தனை ஆனை முகத்தனை இந்தின் இளம்பிறை போன்ற எயிற்றினை நந்தி மகந்தனை ஞான கொழுந்தினை புந்தியில் வைத்தடி போற்றுகின்றேனே. யோகேன சித்தஸ்ய பதேன வாசாமலம் ஷரீரஸ்ய ச வைத்யகேன யோபாகரோத்தம் பிரவரம் முனீனாம் பதஞ்சலிம் பிராஞ்சலிரானதோஸ்மி. आबाहु पुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं. श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः. अस्मदाचार्येभ्यः सर्वेभ्यो नमो नमः. ॐ अजामेकां लोहितशुक्लकृष्णां बह्वीं प्रजां जनयन्ती गुंसरूपां अजो ह्येको जुषमाणो नुषेते जहात्येनां भुक्तभोगामजोऽन्यः. ब्रह्मा मुरारिस्त्रिपुरान्तकश्च भानुशशी भूमिसुतो बुधश्च गुरुश्च शुक्रश्च शनिराहुकेतवो कुर्वन्तु सर्वे मम सुप्रभातं. भृगुर्वसिष्ठक्रतुरङ्गिराश्च मनुपुलश्च पुलहश्च गौतमः रैभ्यो मरीचिश्चवनोऽथ दक्षो कुर्वन्तु सर्वे मम सुप्रभातं. सनत्कुमारश्च सनन्दनश्च सनातनोऽप्यासुरिसिंहलौ च सप्तस्वरा सप्तरसातलानि कुर्वन्तु सर्वे मम सुप्रभातं. सप्तार्णवा सप्तकुलाचलाश्च सप्तऋषयो द्विपवनानि सप्त भूरादिकूर्मो भुवनानि सप्त कुर्वन्तु सर्वे मम सुप्रभातं. पृथिवी सगन्धा सरसास्तदापस्पर्शश्च वायुर्ज्वलितञ्च तेजः नभस्य शब्दं महता सहैव कुर्वन्तु सर्वे मम सुप्रभातं. ब्रह्माणं शङ्करं विष्णुं यमं रामं धनुं बलिं सप्तैतान् संस्मरेन् नित्यं दुःस्वप्नस्तस्य नश्यति. पुण्यश्लोको नलो राजा पुण्यश्लोको युधिष्ठिरः पुण्यश्लोका च वैदेही पुण्यश्लोको जनार्दनः. मा कार्कोटकस्य नागस्य दमयन्त्या नलस्य च ऋतुपर्णस्य राजर्षेः कीर्तनं कलिनाशनं. जानामि धर्मं न च मे प्रवृत्तिर्जानाम्यधर्मं न च मे निवृत्तिः. केनापि देवेन हृदि स्थितेन यथा नियुक्तोऽस्मि तथा करोमि. इत्थं प्रभाते परमं पवित्रं पठेत् स्मरेत् वा शृणुयात् च तत्त्वत्. दुःस्वप्ननाशस्तु इह सुप्रभातं भवेच्च नित्यं भगवत्प्रसादात् भवेच्च नित्यं भगवत्प्रसादात् भवेच्च नित्यं भगवत्प्रसादात्. ॐ Can you chant this shloka? Ajamekam लोहितशुक्लकृष्णां बह्वीं प्रजां जनयन्ति गुंसरूपां अजो ह्येको जुषमाणो नुषेते जहात्येनां भुक्तभोगाम् अजोऽन्यः. ॐ 56 तत्र जरामरणकृतं दुःखं प्राप्नोति चेतनः पुरुषः लिङ्गस्य अविनिवृत्तेः तस्मात् दुःखं स्वभावेन. Right? So this we have seen yesterday that he says that life is full of dukkha, and then the repeated births and deaths only keep on adding to the dukkha, and then that leads to the next shloka. The next shloka, ityesha prakritikirto mahadadi vishesha bhuta paryantah प्रतिपुरुष विमोक्षार्थं स्वार्थमिव parartha arambhaha. Now he says, of course, the what you call prakriti gives a lot of bhoga, different kinds of experience to us, and then all that experience results in what? Jara, Marana, Dukkha. Isn't it? Jara, Marana, Dukkha. You take a birth and then you accumulate more karma, and then towards the end of the life, Jara, old age, and Marana, they give you Dukkha. So again you start another birth. So this is one part of what Prakriti does. What does Prakriti do? It keeps on giving experiences which according to the author is by and large it is only dukkha. So dukkam svabhavena, every birth is full of misery only. Svabhavena, that is the inherent nature of birth. You don't agree with that? Svabhavena. Now he talks about the other thing that Prakriti can do. Ityeshaha Prakriti Kritau, Ityeshaha Prakriti Kritau, Mahadadi Vishesha Bhuta Paryantam, Mahadadi Vishesha Bhuta Paryantam, Pratipurusha Vimokshartam. Right? Let's go through this shloka word by word. Mahadadi Vishesha Bhuta Paryantaha. What is Mahadadi? Mahat and Mahat, etc. What are the various tattvas? Mahatahankara, the Pancha Tanmatras, Pancha Bhutas, then the 11 Indriyas, all of them put together. Mahadadi Vishesha Bhuta Paryantaha. What is the last evolution of Prakriti? It is, they are the Bhutas, the 5 Bhutas. Mahadadi, from the Mahatattva to Vishesha. Vishesha Bhutas are the individual Bhutas. What is the difference? Vishesha Bhuta are the Bhutas, the Tanmatras are Avishesha. Avishesha, Vishesha are the terms that are used here. Avishesha will refer to the Tanmatras. You remember the Yoga Sutra, Vishesha, Avishesha, Linga Matra, Alingani Gunaparvani. So it is mentioned the reverse order. The 4 stages of evolution is mentioned the reverse order in the Yoga Sutras. So Mahadadi Vishesha Bhuta Paryantaha. So this entire evolution of Prakriti, Ityeshaha Prakriti Kirtau. Okay, Ityeshaha, in this way, Prakriti Kritaha, due to the evolution of Prakriti. So the entire evolution of Prakriti, Arambaha, it commences Swartham Viva, in addition to creating, giving all the what you call, repeated birth and death, or the samsara to each and every individual, it also provides what? Arambaha, Swartham Viva, Parartham, Pratiprutushta Vimokshartham. Swartham Viva, as though it is doing it for itself. Parartha, what is the other one? The Purusha is the Para. Para, the other one, which is not part of Prakriti, is Purusha. Parartham, for the sake of Purusha. Pratipurusha Vimokshartham. Pratipurusha means each and every individual. Each and every Purusha, we say Vimokshartham. What is Vimoksha? For the ultimate release or Kaivalya. So what does it mean? In the previous shloka he said this Prakriti gives birth after birth, and each birth according to him is only Swabhavena. Inherently it is Dukkha. Swabhava means inherent. Inherently every Janma is Dukkha. Right? So it does not create, this universe is created not only to give repeated birth and death to individuals and give Dukkha, but also the same, Prakriti gives release to the Purusha as if it is doing it for oneself. So when as a yogi, what does a yogi do? What does a yogi do? At some point in life, in one of the births, the individual starts thinking, okay, let us try to find out something. This can't go on forever. It comes to the mind. So then it takes the necessary efforts to achieve the Kaivalya or the Chittavriti Nirodha. Okay. So who does that? The Purusha doesn't do anything. It is the Prakriti which does. Prakriti in the form of Buddhi. The form of Buddhi, that's what the Prakriti. Prakriti not only binds you and then makes you take birth after birth, the Prakriti itself at a particular point of time, which aspect of Prakriti? The Buddhi aspect of Prakriti, that takes control. Say we'll take a different direction now. We'll take a different direction. You can't go on in this particular way. Who says this? The Prakriti says. The same Prakriti, the same Buddhi which has been leading us birth after birth, it takes so in the previous shloka he mentioned about the everything that Prakriti does to keep us in bondage. He says the same Prakriti. And then what does it do? To release the Purusha from the necessity to keep on watching all that goes on in our mind as Chittavritti, it starts working towards a stage where there will be no Chittavritti presented to the Purusha, so that it will be completely released. Right? Who does that? It is the Prakriti itself that does. That's a particle. Swarthamiva. So when I decide, when anyone decides, okay, I want to become a yogi, I want to stop this samsara, which makes the decision? The buddhi makes the decision. Buddhi is also part of Prakriti. Right? That's what he says. Swarthamiva. And then what do you do? Okay, I want to achieve Chittavritti Nirodha. I want to be released from this future birth and death. Who says this? The Buddhi Tattva. Which, when it says, I want to get released, it is not for the release of the, it says, I want to get released. What does it may refer to? It refers to the Purusha. Even though Purusha is not part of the Prakriti. So, Swarthamiva, that's what he says. As if it is doing it for itself. When the buddhi in me tells me that I must get relief, what gets relief according to them is the Purusha. But then I start working towards that. I start doing asana, I start doing pranayama, I start studying, Sāṁkhya, I start studying yoga, contemplate about it. All these activities are done by the Prakriti. Our friend is not here. Yesterday he was asking the question.
He's sitting on the same.
Oh, okay. Are you listening? Good. Okay. So what does it do? Then it tries to get information, does lots of things. It becomes anxious. Okay, I don't understand this. I don't understand that. It tries to clarify everything. All these activities are done by Prakriti, as if the release is for Prakriti. No, it is a release for the Purusha. Purusha is the real self. So this particular shloka, the goal of Prakriti is twofold. One goal is to keep on giving experiences, which is going on. The other goal of Prakriti is to give release to the Purusha. Bhoga apavargartham drishyam. Right? Drishya Atma. Whatever you consider to be the Atma, made up of the 3 gunas and the 24 tattvas. The 3 gunas is the Moola Prakriti, and the other 24 tattvas. It can give you bhoga. You means to the Purusha. Different forms of experiences it can give incessantly, again and again, birth after birth, which by and large, according to them, is only dukkha. By and large, it only gives dukkha. So at some point, the same buddhi starts working in a different direction. It works towards apavarga. That is the message of this shloka, right? Pratipurusha vimokshartham. That is also very interesting. Pratipurusha, every Purusha, every Purusha, sometime or other, this is what the Vedanta says, sometime or other, you get tired, the samskara keep on increasing. Not only with respect to what activities have taken place in this janma, but for over janma after janma after janma, we have gone through pain. At such a particular point of time in a human birth, you sit down and start thinking about what is going on. How long will it go? That they call it as bhavaroga. In Vedanta, they call it bhavaroga. Bhavaroga means disease of existence. When will I get cured of this bhavaroga? Right? Okay, now 56 shloka. Is it clear? It's not clear whether it is clear. All right. Ityeshaha Prakriti-kritau Mahadadi Vishesha-bhuta Paryantaha Prati-purusha Vimokshartham Swarthaiva Parartha Arambha. इत्येष प्रकृतिकृतो महदादिविशेषभूतपर्यन्तः प्रतिपुरुषविमोक्षार्थं स्वार्थमिव परार्थ आरम्भः. So it starts sometime. Arambha means it begins. The process, the reverse process begins. It is begun by the Prakriti itself. The Buddhi takes over, and then, okay, previously it would be dominated by Ahankara, Manas, and this various Indriyas, The Indriyas, when they become dominant, Indriyas are the weak link in the entire thing. In the entire thing, the weakest, according to the what you call Kathopanishad, the weakest link, you got the what you call Vishayas, outside objects, then the Indriyas. We get into contact with the outside objects only through the Indriyas, right? Then we got the Manas which controls them. Then we got the Ahankara, then the Buddhi. Then finally we got the, what you call the Atman. These are the, Atman is forgotten. And then when the Vishayas dominate, when the senses are weak, the Vishayas dominate, right? And the one that can, the senses have got no, no control. Okay, so what can control the senses? Only the Manas can control the senses because it's the one that coordinates. So when the Manas is weak, what happens? The Indriyas have got no direction and they are dominated by the senses. That's how most of the time that we are completely addicted to the objects. We are addicted to the objects. Addiction to different types of objects. So the Manas will have to first take hold. The Manas become a little stronger. Then Ahankara says, okay, this is not good for me. That is also a view that is given by Ahankara. The Buddhi takes over. Let us try to find out ways by which this can be brought to an end. So this process takes place, instantaneously or over a period of time. Then once that takes place, then Buddhi starts trying to find out ways and means by which this could be achieved. Ways and means of achieving this, right? And then they resort to different methods, including yoga and those practices come into play. And this is the Apavarga Marga, that leads you to really understanding the nature of the self, and Chittavritti Nirodha can take place, right? And then the same Buddhi which did not control the senses, the same Buddhi which did not control the Ahankara and the Manas, and then allowed the entire system to be dominated by the Vishayas. What are the Vishayas? Vishayas are the objects in the outside world. Some maybe have weakness for any one of the objects. Some may be addicted to food. Some may be addicted to television. Some may be addicted to music. Music also can be an addiction. Music is good, but then all sorts of music is there. They addict. You become addicted to that. Likewise, there are the Vishayas take over. They dominate us. So that can be broken only by the Manas taking over. So the Manas has to become strong. Once the Manas become strong, the Indriyas will come under the Manas rather than the Vishayas. Ityesha prakriti krito mahadadi vishesha bhuta paryantaha pratipurusha vimokshartam swartayeva parartha arambha. We'll go to the next one. It's a nice example. Vatsa vinivriddhi nimittam kshirasya yata pravrittirajnasya purusha vimoksha nimittam tatha pravrittihi pradhanasya. It's a metaphor. I don't know. It's an example he gives. Yatha, in the way, Ajnasya means what? The one without consciousness. Jnaha we have seen earlier. The word Jnaha refers to the Purusha. Jnaha refers to consciousness. Ajnasya, all including, everything including my Buddhi is an Ajna. It has got no consciousness. Yata Ajnasya, the one, the what is the English word for that? Non-sentient Kshira. Kshira is what? Milk. Kshira is Agnya. Agnya means it is just matter. It is just matter, right? Ajnasya kshirasya, milk. Vatsa vivriddhi nimittam, for the sake of the nourishment of a vatsa. Vatsa means the calf. Vatsa here means the child. Vatsa, all here in this context, is calf. Maybe our babies. Vatsa vivriddhi nimittam, for the sake of the nourishment of the baby or the calf. Pravritti, it functions, isn't it? It has got no knowledge or awareness or anything, but it does its function. Tata, in the same way, pradhanasya, of the pradhana, my buddhi, my pradhana, purusha vimoksha nimittam, for the release of the purusha. Purusha is inside the purusha, which is jnaha, the consciousness within me, vimoksha nimittam, for the release of that purusha. What is the release of this purusha? Is it under bondage? Really, it is not under bondage, but then there is a feeling it is under bondage because I don't have the correct understanding of the nature of myself. It is a peculiar situation here. Something is not under bondage, but it appears to be under bondage. Because you think it is under bondage, you want to release it. Isn't it? The door is not, you think the door is locked, so what you do? You do a lot of efforts to try to, you try to bring a different keys, and ultimately you see it is already open. You don't have to use all these keys. But until you realize that, you try a lot of things to open the door, right? I don't know whether the example is good. Tata pradhanasya purusha vimoksha nimittam. For the purusha means the individual soul. Vimoksha nimittam. Vimoksha is release. Vimoksha means completely permanent release of the purusha. Nimittam, for that sake, pravartate, it functions. Now, from this moment onwards, until the release takes place, my mind is going to work on this. It may take 1 janma, it may take 100 janmas, it doesn't matter. My mind has taken up it has taken up the task. Okay, I got to find out a way by which the release will have to be achieved. Who does this? The Prakriti does this. Prakriti does this. So slowly it starts, directs the mind to take control. Again, the buddhi has to give instructions. Take control, then ahankara falls in line, and buddhi says, okay, we'll do, these are things that we'll have to do. And it becomes sattvic, it takes complete control, and due course it is able to understand the nature of the self, and the vimoksha or the release takes place. So he compares the buddhi tattva, which represents prakriti, to kshira. Kshira means what? Milk. Milk, even though it has got no consciousness, it is there without expecting anything. It does its work of nourishing the vatsa, nourishing the calf or the baby. Likewise, the buddhi, once it takes over, it starts working towards the release of the purusha. Right?
Pradhana word is used.
Right.
So buddhi also merges in that.
No, here he used the word pradhanasya. Pradhana refers to the moola prakriti here. It includes all the, all the evolutions of pradhana. Because you need everything. Buddhi is the chief, pradhana by itself cannot function. So it functions through buddhi. Buddhi works through ahankara, then manas, the various indriyas, the body, everything will get involved. So the whole group coming out of pradhana. That's why you use the word pradhana rather than individually explaining everything. Pradhanasya purusha vimokshartam, the entire nature in me, including my body, my indriyas, everything in me starts working towards this. Pravartate. Okay. Yatha, just as agnyasya, the non-intelligent or agnyasya means non-conscious. Kshiras, it doesn't deliberately do that. The kshira doesn't say, okay, I want to nourish this. No. You give it to you, it flows in the cow, and then it is consumed by the calf. And then as soon as it gets to the calf, it does its work without being aware of anything. Like by the entire prakriti, without any awareness, it goes about. Because of that, because of sattva, because of the order in it. What is the order in a kshira? To nourish the calf. That's what it does. Unless it is spoiled, So that is its function. So, tata pradhanasya purusha vimoksha. Now what happens? The pradhana, instead of giving more and more birth, at one particular point of time it says, okay, let us try to get the release of this. That is why drishya. Bhoga apavargartam drishyam. In one shloka, one sutra, Patanjali explains that the same buddhi which has been, which has not been giving you proper directions, now has started giving you proper directions. And all the various activities that are likely to help the buddhi achieving the goal of chitta vritti nirodha, or the Purusha Vimoksha is that set of activities is called yoga. So that is why all other activities lead you to next janma. Whether you do dharmic karma or adharmic karma, all of them lead to next janma. If you do dharmic karma, you go further up. If you do adharmic karma, you go to you go in the opposite direction. These are the things that the good deeds and bad deeds do, because there is a motivation in that. But so far as yoga is concerned, yoga does not add to your karma bundle. Why? Because there is no motivation. You are not wanting to go to heaven, or you don't want to avoid going to the other place. You are not looking for anything for your own sake. What does yoga do? Yoga is supposed to make you understand who really you are. That's all what it does. Isn't it? It doesn't lead to the kind of accumulation of karma. Dharma or adharma is not accumulated by practice of yoga. That is why in the Yoga Sutras he says, karma shukra krishnam yoginaha trividham itaresham. Yoginaha karma akrishna aklishna. I'm sorry. Akrishna, ashukla Krishna. It is neither white nor. If you do yoga, you won't go to heaven. If you do yoga, you don't go to heaven, isn't it? Because it's not a dharmic karma. So in fact, I like to quote this shloka from the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter, 50th shloka. Buddhi yuktaha jahati iha ubho sukruta dushkrutau. What is meant by buddhi yukta? Somebody whose buddhi is, is the dominant, dominant thing in the chitta. Buddhi yuktaha. Yuktaha means united with, focused, united with buddhi. That means a wise person. Buddhi yuktaha, a wise person. What does he do? Buddhi yukto jahati iha. Jahati means gives up. What does he give up? Iha, in this world, not everywhere, not somewhere else. He is not waiting for the next janma. Iha sukruta dushkruto. Sukruta means dharmic karma. Dushkruta is bad karma. He gives up both good karma and bad karma. Then what does he do? Supposing I am 50 years old, I give up both. What do? Tasmad yogaya yujasva. So you become a yogi. You engage your mind in yoga. Why should I engage my mind in yoga? Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Karmasu means plural. Different types of karmas are there. What are the karmas that are there? What are the karmas? Dharmic karma, Shukla karma, Krishna karma, or Shukla Krishna karma. So Krishna has already said in the first line, a wise person gives up both good and bad deeds. Dharma, adharma, Sukruta, Dushkruta. He gives up both. So when you give up both, the Mishra karma also is given up. What is left? The fourth set of karma that is left, which is called yoga karma. In yoga, what do? You do your asana, pranayama. You don't bother anybody else. You don't accumulate any karma. You don't. What I'm trying to say is, if you do this, it is neither good or bad. If you do yoga, you don't go to heaven. It is not a dharma karma. And it is not an adharma karma. If you do yoga, you won't go to the other place also. So yoga will not lead you to next janma. That is the whole idea. And that's exactly what the Yoga Sutra says. What does the Yoga Sutra say? Karma ashukla krishnam yoginaha. Yoginaha karma ashukla krishna. It is neither shukla. Shukla is white. Or dharma, sukruta. These are words which mean the same. Sukruta or Shukla karma or dharma, all of them refer to the same thing, good activities, good karma. We are familiar with that word karma now. Good karma. We are all familiar with good karma. So yogi's karma is neither good or bad. Karma ashukla akrishnam yoginaha. Yoginaha karma ashukla akrishna. Ashukla, means not white, not black. Yogina. But what about other karmas? Trividham itaresham. All other activities can be classified into either good, bad, or mixed. Pure good activities are there. Selfless activities some people do. Completely despicable activities, adharmic karma some people do. And most of us do the mixed karmas. I mean, one of the examples they give you, they see a cow. I mean, in the olden days, cow is venerated because it always does good karma. It doesn't get anything for itself. No, it gives milk to the calf. It also gives milk to the to all of us. It does. That is why a cow is doing a lot of good karma, pure good karma. Whereas there are other animals which are supposed to be doing completely bad karma. And what about us? We do mixed karmas. Whatever we do, there is an element of goodness in it, there is an element of, what do you call, something bad about it. Even the yajna yagas that we do are supposed to be mishra. Mishra means it may be predominantly be good, but there is an element of bad things associated with that. Right? So all activities are either good, bad or mixed, whereas yogic karma is completely devoid of all these three. So when you don't accumulate good, bad or indifferent karmas, I mean good, bad or mixed karmas, you don't take another birth. Yes.
In the Gita, Krishna also tells Arjuna that he has to do dharma
All right.
as a Kshatriya.
No, no. Yeah.
In this case of good karma.
No, no. You see, yeah, supposing you are doing some karma which is not, generally doing bad karmas, it is better to do good karma than doing bad karma. So in this case, in Krishna, in Arjuna's case, at that particular point of time, he has to do something. That that activity is a dharmic karma according to Krishna, because it is a war and it is his duty. If you do your duty, it is a dharma karma. That's what. So he is required to do that. So he can't run away and become a yogi. You can't see. You fulfill all your responsibilities. And then you take to yoga. So now, what Krishna tells Arjuna is, he doesn't ask you to go and keep on fighting war. Once you complete this war, you don't go and fight another war. But this war, you can't run away at this particular moment. So you can't do something in the middle and run away, because the consequences are very bad. If he runs away, what happens is, what about the rest of the people who depend upon that? I am the head of the family. There is some problem, As a head of the family, I must solve it. I can't run away. If I run away, what happens? The rest of the people who depend upon that are going to suffer. So that papa is going to accrue to me. I can't run away and then say that I didn't do any bad karma. It's an adharma of omission, isn't it? If Arjuna runs away, it is a papa of omission. So he has to do that work. So he doesn't say that you keep on fighting. This particular in the particular context, you can't run away. That is what we have got to understand. Okay, this is clear. Yatha ajñasya kshirasya. So the prakriti, without expecting anything, does its work. What is its work? One work is to keep you in bondage. The other work is to give you relief. Both of it does. The prakriti gives relief to me. Supposing I get relief, then what happens? It gives relief to somebody else. Constantly, this is in the process of giving bondage to people, and also it is in the process of giving relief to people. Both of them is being done by the prakriti. It is not one-way traffic. Vatsa vivriddhi nimittam kshirasya yatha pravrittihi ajñasya purusha vimoksha nimittam tatha pravrittihi pradhanasya vatsa vivriddhi nimittam kshirasya yatha pravrittirajñasya purusha vimoksha nimittam tatha pravritti pradhanasya. Go to the next one. Autsukya nivrityartham yatha kriyasu pravartate lokaha purushasya vimokshartham pravartate tadvat avyaktam. Avyakta here refers to the three gunas. So you don't, how can pradhana come, mula prakriti? No. Avyakta here refers to mula prakriti. Mula prakriti is constituted by the three gunas. Those three gunas permeate in all of us. So it's not a... All right. Yatha, in the same way, lokaha here means the world, or the people in the world, or the creatures in the world. Outsukya means desires. Vivrityartam, to fulfill the desires. Kriyasu pravartante, they indulge in activities. Am I right? We all do activities to fulfill our desires. That's what all the creatures do. Tadvat, in the same way, avyakta will be the pradhana here in this case. In this case, the three gunas, especially the buddhi. Avyaktam purushasya vimokshartam pravartate. For the sake of purushasya vimokshartam, purushasya of the purusha, vimokshartam for the release or the moksha of the release, which is called kaivalya, pravartate, it starts functioning. Right? Right. This, what does it mean? What does it mean? He says people who go after what you call moksha, are like all of us. They are not different from us. Okay. Only thing is, their energy is not directed towards the objects or the desires that we have, but it is directed differently. So this is the right. If you are a if you are a Balavan, Balavan is a strong man, Balavan. A Balavan works with total concentration to defeat the other person who is fighting him. If you are a wrestler or a boxer, for those 9 rounds or 8 rounds or 11 rounds, how many rounds? Maybe 11 rounds. Many rounds. Okay, he is totally concentrated during that time. Gets a lot of beating, beats the other one. He works with total concentration there, The only goal at that particular time is to beat the other person. If you take a Balavan, you take a Veeravan. Veeravan means a warrior. What does he do at the time of fighting? I mean, not always. When there is a war, then they work with total concentration. I want to win, right? Then we have got Dhanavan. What is it by Dhanavan? A rich man. What does he do? He wants to make more and more money. He works with total concentration, all the time. Even their dream will be full of making money. So they work with a lot of concentration. Not that, people who succeed with a lot of passion, right? Dharmavan are people who do dharma. They spend their entire lifetime doing dharma, helping other people. Isn't it? So there is a lot of passion. There is a lot of focus in all. The same kind of focus, he says, will be applied by a yogi or a person interested in the release. So there all the time he'll be thinking about it. All the time. He's not a part-time. Okay. But when you are a Dhanavan, if you are a person who's got running an industry or running a business, all the time they only think about it. Even at 10 o'clock in the evening, they'll be thinking, you'll be calling somebody, what do we do? How can we, constantly their mind, the main focus is this. In addition to doing a few other minor things, their main focus is this. All the time back of the mind, this is going on, right? Like in the same way, so it is not different. I too, if I am interested in this, the same kind of passion, the same kind of focus, the same kind of focus will be that I want to get release. I don't want to be born again. This will be the attitude. So that is what he says here. Yatha lokaha autsukyaha vivrityartam kriyasu pravartate. Take the example of all the people who are totally focused on their goal. If I am a lawyer, yes. If I am a doctor, yes. Everyone, every profession, everybody works with, not everyone, most of the people who are successful work with a lot of focus, lot of attention. So if I can bring the same mode, am I a part-time yoga? Just see, if you are a part-time businessman, you will be a small businessman. You don't make progress. You have got to put in extra effort. Likewise here, like ordinary people, in ordinary activities, put total attention. A yogi also will have to put the same kind of attention. So it is not different, isn't it? Is it clear? It is what he is trying to say is that we all have this. We all have this what you call a focus and energy. Just as we are applied to worldly activities, the same amount of energy, if you can apply to the spiritual what you call activity, you will be able to achieve. What is the spiritual activity here? It is yoga. यथा लोकः औत्सुक्य विवृत्यर्थं क्रियासु प्रवर्तते तद्वत् in the same way avyakta here refers to my buddhi in a sattvic state purushartham purushasya vimokshartham pravartate. It starts functioning in this. So then what happens once this takes over me, then what happens, my mind is going to constantly think about the nature of the self. When the mind starts wandering, it is going to bring the mind, it is going to bring back and remain focused on that. It's a more difficult job because the worldly things are more easy to do. We can, it's much easier to do because we are familiar with that. The objects are seen, where in this case it becomes a little more difficult. That is, the whole idea is, it is not something different, it is not it is not some, what do you say? Yeah, yes. It is not something out of the ordinary. Autsukya nivrityartham yatha kriyasu प्रवर्तते लोकः पुरुषस्य विमोक्षार्थं प्रवर्तते तद्वत् अव्यक्तम्. Okay, see, once this what you call job is accomplished, the buddhi tries to get the release of the purusha. When this goes on, and ultimately when the kaivalya takes place, what happens to the prakriti? Will it engage you again in your worldly activities? No, it won't do that. That's what the next shloka says. Rangasya darshayitva nivartate nartaki yatha nrityat purushasya tathatmanam prakashya vinivartate prakriti. That is the chittavritti nirodha is permanent. If the chitta is able to see the nature of Purusha, and with that it is able to get the kaivalya of the Purusha, it is not going to bind the Purusha once again. So this is necessary, because in the first chapter, first shloka, they said all the methods that we follow are not giving a permanent solution. Now he says this will be a permanent solution. Right. Rangasya darshayitva nivartate nartaki yatha nrityat. This is an example that is given. Some people explain it in a slightly elaborate way. I will do it, try to give it in an elaborate way. Let us take the case of a nartaki. What is mean nartaki? Earlier he used the term natavat. He used the example natavat to tell us that the same person takes different roles, right? I may act as a king in one, next time I may act as a servant. Like that I keep on changing. Right. So that is the example he gave for the transmigration of the soul, taking different roles, right? Different lives. Here what does he say? He gives the example of a nartaki. What is my nartaki? A dancer. A dancer. You take the story is like this. In the olden days, kings, they have court. They have court. Whenever they are not fighting with the neighbors, constantly they fight with the neighbors. So they have the court, and in the court, whatever be it's all done in open. The ministers will be sitting, the army chiefs will be there, and then the cases will be brought to them. The king will decide. King will finally decide. He will let go somebody. He will punish somebody. And then after the day's work is over, normally the kings usually have some entertainment, right? Pardon? Asthana Nartaki, correct. So she is completely committed to the king. They have no other, what do you call, no family, nothing whatsoever. Completely. Okay. So she comes and gives a performance. So one day she comes and give a performance, right? The king is supposed to sit there and watch it for maybe for some time, maybe an hour or 2 hours. He watches that. So there is no communication between the, what do you call it, communication between the Nartaki. Nartaki is a loyal servant, and then she is afraid of talking to the king. And the king doesn't think thinks it is beneath him to come and talk to the Nartaki. So this goes on. She gives a very good performance, and then goes away. And then as soon as she completes giving the performance, she retires, and then again comes back next day, and then gives. She doesn't know. There is no feedback. There's no feedback. So she is not sure whether what she did was good enough for the king. Was he happy with that? So she doesn't know. So what did she do? Today she did Bharatanatyam. So next day what does she do? She comes out with Kathakali. And then gives a performance of Kathakali next day. And then, the king watches it for a couple of hours or so. At the end of that performance, she goes away. She's not sure still whether he likes it. So third day she comes with another one. Bhangra. Okay, am I right? Okay. And then she gives another performance, and then she goes away. Like that she goes on and on and on. And now the young lady, who started dancing before the king, has become an old lady now. And then she is so loyal. She has not seen anywhere. She has not gone anywhere. She has not traveled to Paris or other countries. She has been there all the time as a totally committed Nartaki for the palace. One day, she is now getting old. And the king also is just watching her dance. Day after day, he is getting old, she is getting old. And then she is getting tired. She has got nothing new to offer. The same thing, now she has got to go on repeating it once again and again, without really knowing whether she thinks to modify it so that make it different. But after some time, this goes on. One day, an old man comes. Again, old man comes to the old lady in front of the old king, and then taps her on her shoulder, and then asks her. Then she turns and then says, immediately I ask him, I've been giving performance all these years, but I don't know whether he likes it or not. So I'm keep on changing. I keep on changing. Day after day, I'm trying new things. But I have no clue whether he likes it or not. Then the old man says, don't you see, he is not interested in your dance at all. He is just watching because he has to watch. He has got absolutely no interest. He is just a witness there. He is just sitting there and watching. Whether you give an excellent performance, it is not going to make him happy. If you give a lousy performance, it is not going to make him unhappy. Okay? He is there because he has to be there. Because he is the king, he is the boss of this palace, he is sitting there and watching. Then what will the lady do? She will stop dancing, and then she will stop. Likewise here, the buddhi, when it realizes that the Purusha is not affected in any way by everything that he does, whether the buddhi does a lot of things by making 100 crores of rupees to it is not going to make the Purusha happier. Nor does it, if you live on a hand-to-mouth basis, it is not going to make the Purusha unhappy. When this realization comes to the buddhi, what will it do? It will stop following this path. Okay, then it withdraws. Like the Nartaki withdraws from the, Ranga. Ranga means the theatre, from the theatre or the stage. From the theatre she withdraws. Okay. Will it affect the Purusha now? No. If she doesn't dance also, it is not going to affect. Come on. I'm giving a beautiful story. you don't look happy. Okay. So like this is example that he gives. Only thing he didn't expand it. I just thought I could expand it so that you understand the significance of it. What this says is all those things that the mind does to make ourselves happy. That's what we do. I want to try this. And then immediately, okay, I feel happy for a short period of time, it goes away. Then what do? Okay, I want to increase my happiness. I try something else, something more, or something different. It keeps on changing. There is no permanent happiness. Occasionally there is a fleet of happiness here and there. There is no permanent happiness. But I keep on doing it. Even at the age of 80, I keep on doing it. Right? I have no clue yet. Don't have any clue. So, when the buddhi, instead of running after getting a lot of activities by which I can make me happy, I think I'm making the Purusha happy because I have no real understanding of who I am. That's the whole problem. Because I don't know who I am, I try to make myself happy by doing something or the other, and that doesn't lead to the happiness. Now, my buddhi is able to see that the Purusha is something which does not require anything to make it happy. So then my buddhi is going to say, enough is enough. Okay, I have done my work. I have been trying to make it happy. I have been trying to make somebody who can't be made happy. It doesn't mean it is unhappy. Something who will not be affected by whatever I do. Then I stop doing this. Rangasya darshayitva yatha nartaki rangasya darshayitva nrityat nivartate darshayitva yatha means as nartaki, a dancer, rangasya of the theatre, darshayitva, having performed here, darshayitva here, has performed in so many different ways, darshayitva. Nrityat nivartate, having shown and having known that the Purusha is not affected at all by my performance. Nrityat nivartate. Nrityat means from the dance, nivartate, she withdraws from that. Tata, in the same way, prakriti is the prakriti in the form of my buddhi, prakriti, purushasya atmanam prakashya, purushasya of the Purusha, atmanam, its real nature, prakashya, having seen that, having clearly seen that, nivartate. This Purusha does not require anything. Prakashya, the buddhi has understood a lot of things from the outside world. Isn't it? I am a very, very intelligent person. I know everything about the outside world, right? I can do anything with the outside world, but I don't know who really I am. Not ultimately, I understand the 25th Tattva, who really I am. So, Purushasya Atmanam Prakashya, okay, Purushasya of the Purusha, Atmanam is the real nature, Prakashya, having known, Nivartate, it goes away. Just like a Nartaki stops dancing, my buddhi also will stop dancing. Right? Good? So that stage, will the Nartaki come back and dance? No, this knowledge is sufficient. Once I know something, I don't go back to it. Isn't it? Once I know something is not good, I don't go back. If I find that a particular hotel gives lousy food, once that realization comes, I don't go there at all. I will never go there in my life. Likewise, the buddhi, having known the true nature of the self, I have nothing else to do. So what does it do? Now, its only goal, what is the only goal of Nartaki? The only goal of Nartaki was to satisfy the self, the Purusha. Now, what does the Nartaki do? Having known that the Purusha does not require any of her dances, she stops. Will she go somewhere else and dance? That's for the Prakriti to do. So far as my buddhi is concerned, it will be in a state of Chittavritti Nirodha. Rangasya darshayitva nivartate nartaki yatha nrityat purushasya tatha atmanam prakashya vinivartate prakritihi. Rangasya darshayitva nivartate nartaki yatha nrityate purushasya tatha atmanam prakashya vinivartate prakritihi. Now we get to the 60th shloka. Nana vidhaihi upayaihi upakarini anupakarinaha pumsaha Gunavat agunasya satastasyartam aparthakam charati. Now he compares the role of Purusha and Prakriti in this process. All the activities are done by the Prakriti. The Purusha doesn't do anything. But without the Purusha, there is no activity possible, isn't it? When the Purusha gets close to the Prakriti, the what do you call the what do you call the evolution starts. You know, when the Purusha gets close, then immediately the Mahatattva comes, Ahankara Tattva, that is the Buddhi Tattva, Ahankara Tattva, the Tanmatra, all of them come and surround the Purusha. It happens to each and every Purusha according to Sāṁkhyas. Right? Now, so in this process, Purusha doesn't do anything. Everything is done, all the activity is only in the Prakriti. Right? Nana vidaihi upayaihi, by several means, nana vidaihi upayaihi, upakarini gunavati. Upakarini means helpful. In the process of the Kaivalya process, in the process of Kaivalya, Nana vidaihi upayehi. There are so many different things that you do. You practice asanas, you practice pranayama, you start meditation, you study, you contemplate. So many things that you do. Everything is done by what? The Prakriti. Everything is done by Prakriti. Nana vidaihi upayehi. By using different means. Upakarini. Upakarini means the one that is helpful. And then Gunavati. Gunavati means what? Gunavati is a nice term that he uses here. Gunavati means somebody who has got the good guna. Gunavati. Here it refers to Gunavati, refers to Prakriti, because the Prakriti is made up of the three gunas. Gunavati. Anupakarinaha. So in the process of reaching the ultimate goal of Kaivalya, what does the Purusha do? Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. You know, just like a Pangu. Pangu means like an invalid. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. It just stays wherever it is. But that is the self. Apakar gunavati anupakarinaha agunasya. Anupakarinaha means not helpful, not active. Agunasya. What is by agunasya? It has got no characteristics that are in the Prakriti, which are sattva, rajas and tamas. If there is no rajas, there is no activity. If there is no sattva, there is no cognition. Nothing is there. The Purusha is merely observing everything that is going on in the chitta. Agunasya sataha. Sataha means always. It doesn't, as I told you, like the king which does not, react to everything that is being performed there. Good dance, he doesn't smile. Bad dance, he doesn't frown. He just sits there. Agunasya sataha tasya pumsaha. Tasya, that Purusha, pumsaha, artha apartakam charati. So, even without the help of the Purusha, it helps the Purusha, pumsam, artham, Purushartham. Purushartha means for the sake of the Purusha, apartakam charati. Without a motive, the Prakriti functions. What does the Prakriti get by releasing the Purusha? Nothing. It doesn't get anything. What does Purusha get? He also gets nothing. That's another way of looking at it. Purusha gets nothing. Prakriti gets nothing out of this. But if they don't see this, all the aparthas take place. Is it clear? No. Nana vidhaihi upayaihi upakarini anupakarinaha pumsaha gunavati agunasya satastasya artham aparthakam charati. Okay, it's a peculiar situation, It is not exactly how we go about in our life. He is talking about the innermost tattva, what gives God, what gives us the nature of a subject. You see, in this world, I am the subject. Everything else is an object. Right through my life, I am the subject, isn't it? Am I right? I am the subject right through my life. What gives the subjectivity? It is awareness. Okay, so that should be called as I, according to them. The one that gives you the subjectivity is the, what you call it, should be called as I, and that is Purusha. We don't do that. We consider this individual made up of the what you call the 24 tattvas of Prakriti as the self. Okay, this body of 24 tattvas has got no Purushatva, there has got no consciousness. The Purusha, on the other hand, does not have any of the 24 tattvas, but for some strange coincidence, these two are together. These two are together because I am not, the buddhi in me is not able to see that. Buddhi is not, I keep on doing the same thing over and over again. Sometimes we don't know how to do a particular thing. You do it wrongly again and again. Am I right? If you don't know how to do something correctly, you do it wrongly. That becomes a habit. Right through, we do it in the wrong way. Until somebody comes and says, no, this is not the right way to do it. So likewise here, we keep on doing everything in a wrong way without knowing this distinction. We consider the consciousness within us and the body as one, one composite unit, and then consider it to be the self. I am the subject now, and then divide the universe into subject and object. I divide the universe into subject and object. This portion occupied, this portion, say about 3 cubic feet or so, and then about 140 pounds of matter. All of them I consider to be myself. The rest is the object. But actually, this is also part of the object. And that is also clear. If you really take a moment, I not only am aware of the outside, the huge universe, I am also aware of this, the small entity which is considered to be the subject. So when you start thinking on these lines, you try to find out, okay, what is it inside us? What is it inside? Who thinks that? Again, the same Prakriti. The same Prakriti thinks that. Whomsoever we consider to be ourselves is actually the Prakriti. That's why we say in Tamil, Adura Prakriti. We say it's a Prakriti. Each one is a Prakriti. Each one has got a different characteristic. Supposing somebody acts without the understanding of the self, we call it Prakriti because he doesn't understand the self. Right.
So here you say the word
Gunavati.
The denote Prakriti is like a Prakriti with the Sattva.
Yes.
The dominant is the one who goes about doing all the activities, whether it is affecting, it's pleasing the Purusha or not.
No. Here, see what Gunavati is a term that we normally. Gunavati here refers to Gunavati, you call it Gunavat because it is full of 3 gunas. That's why you call it Gunavati. But then you use the word Gunavati to one person who usually is Sattvic. Isn't it? You don't call anybody Gunavati. Gunavati means, if you name somebody as Gunavati, we don't name somebody as a Tamasic Gunavati. The whole idea is, I consider somebody as the Sattvic Gunavati. So Gunavati here is a specific term used by the author to indicate that the Sattvic aspect of the Prakriti takes over. Right, you are right. Nana vidhaihi upayaihi upakarini anupakarinaha pumsaha Gunavati agunasya satastasyartham aparthakam charati. नानाविधैरुपारैरुपकारिण्यनुपकारिणः पुंसः गुणवत्यगुणस्य सतस्तस्यार्थमपार्थकं चरति. Okay, I'll go to the next one. प्रकृतेः सुकुमारतरं न किञ्चिदस्तीति मे मतिर्भवति या दृष्टास्मीति पुनर्न दर्शनमुपैति पुरुषस्य. This is again a good shloka, in the sense it says that it will not come back. This what do you call the punarjanma or the samsara does not occur to this person, because so the dukkha is permanently removed by this. And then he gives the example. He says prakritehe sukumarataram, the prakriti which constantly is engaged in giving experience to me for janma after janma after janma, mostly dukkha, maybe sometimes sukha. Once the kaivalya take place, it doesn't come back. It withdraws completely, right? I have reached kaivalya. Supposing I have reached kaivalya, I am 50 years old. I got another 30 years to live. What happens? People come to say, okay, they say, all right, you are a great yogi, you are a great Vedantin, you are a great, you have realized yourself. Okay, whether they know it or not, you read in the papers, somebody says so and so is a great yogi or a great, then people start coming to you. You are able to sit down, keeping your eyes, because your mind is not, chittavritti is not taking place, so you are not disturbed at all. You are able to maintain, certain tranquility, right? So they come and tell you, right? They come and tell you, okay, now we are going to have a spiritual conference, spiritual conference, and we are now taken the permission of the appropriate governments. We are going to flatten the Everest peak, You can't sit in the Everest peak, so you got to have a large area. We will flatten the Everest peak and then create a huge flat area, and then thousands of people will come there climbing the climbing the mountain, and they will all sit there. Why don't you come there? This person will have no interest. He will say, no, thank you. That is what Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra says. What does he say? Sthani upanimantrane sangasmaya akaranam punaha anishta prasangate. Sthani upanimantrane. Sthani means people in high positions. Upanimantrane, they invite you. Nimantrana is to invite you. They keep on inviting you. Who are the sthanis? Indra says, why don't you come to Indraloka? I will make you the Asthana yoga teacher. Okay, why don't you come there? No, thank you. So now this conference comes. Not only human beings and also devas also will come there. That is why we are keeping it in the top of the Himalayas. So you come there. He said, no, thank you. Why? Who says that? The chitta says that. The buddhi says that. It has already withdrawn. It is not interested in giving any more experience to the Purusha, because the Purusha is not going to be afflicted. And then I have completed my, my mission. What is the mission of the Buddhi? Is to give experience to the Purusha. Once it knows the Purusha does not require anything to make it happy or unhappy, then I have nothing else to do. So this realization comes to my Buddhi, comes to this Buddhi. Is it clear? That realization, once that comes to the Buddhi, nothing can distract that. So he says, I am really really amazed by the nature of the chitta. That's what he says. Prakritehe sukumarataram. Sukumaratara means Sukumaratara is ability to withdraw. Sukumaratara is just like supposing somebody is what is the English word? Bashful. Somebody is what is the English word for that? வெக்கப்படுறது சொல்றது shy, okay, very shy person, shy person. So sometimes in the olden days when you go to villages, you go, then immediately the ladies will go into the house. They won't show up. In fact, I remember, when I was about 20 years or so, there was I went to our village in the Tirunelveli district, and there is a small place where we heard that Shankaracharya of Sringeri was touring, and then he was coming to a particular village which was close to where we were. So we thought we could go there. We went there, and then we were standing just one street. It's not a big village, just one street. And then the, what do you call, the Shankaracharya was coming in a, what do you call, in a palanquin or whatever, yeah. So he was coming, and then we had darshan. At that time I was fairly young. And a lady from a house, she was reasonably young, she was standing outside, and then she was also watching. Then I felt very thirsty. I asked her, can I have a glass of water? Can I have a glass of water? That was the end. She went into the house, and then she never came back. Bashful. In the olden days, people used to be very shy. So I made the mistake of asking for a glass of water, and then she lost the opportunity of having the darshan of Shankaracharya. Maybe she was looking from the window behind, I don't know. But so here he says, once the Prakriti Buddhi knows, once the Buddhi knows that it has got nothing else, it will withdraw like a shy woman. That's what it says. Of course, we don't find them nowadays. Prakritehe sukumarataram, okay, sukumarataram na kinchit astiti me matihi. There is nothing more, what do you call, more bashful or more shy than Prakriti itself. Once it knows that it has got nothing else to offer and everything about Prakriti is known, it quietly withdraws completely. Ya drishta asmi iti punaha na darshanam upaiti purushasya. Ya drishta, I am seen. Once it knows. Yes, because at this particular time, what do you call, the knowledge about every aspect of Prakriti is known. In fact, in the Yoga Sutras, Visesha, Vishesha, Linga Matra, Lingani. You contemplate upon all the four stages of evolution. Visesha, the gross aspect, Avishesha, the subtle aspect, Linga Matra, which will be the Mahatattva, Alinga, the Moola Prakriti. All of them you go through. That means you have completely understood the Prakriti. Once you understand the Prakriti, it withdraws. Withdraws because I'm completely exposed. So, ya drishta asmi iti punahana darshanam upaiti purushasya. Afterwards, doesn't come in front of the Purusha again. Okay. So, this is the shloka. So, what does it indicate? Indicates that this Kaivalya is permanent. Kaivalya is permanent. And that is the Dukkhatraya Vigataha. And then the, what you call, the resolution should be complete. Prakritehe of the Prakriti, Sukumarataram, ability to, what you call, withdraw. Kinchitanasti, there is nothing like the way the Prakriti functions. When everything about the Prakriti is known, about the Purusha is known. When the knowledge is complete, it withdraws. Kinchitanasti, iti me matihi. My view is that there is nothing so bad. What does he try to indicate? He indicates that if there is the knowledge of the 24 tattvas of Purusha, of the Prakriti, and the knowledge of Purusha, this is what he said in the first sloka. You remember? Vyakta, Avyakta, Jna, Vijnanate. Vyakta and Avyakta belong to Prakriti. Jnaha is the Purusha. Now the, what you call, the Buddhi has understood, and then everything has been exposed to the Purusha now. Once that is done, what does it do? Isti me matihi. It completely withdraws. Sukumaratara is the capacity to go back. Ya drishta asmi iti punaha purushasya darshanam na paiti. Thereafter, it doesn't provide any kind of experience to the Purusha. All the bhogas are completely stopped because the mind is going to be in a state of chittavritti nirodha. It is not going to provide any further experience to the Purusha, right? So he wants to affirm, he wants to tell at this point, once the chittavritti nirodha takes place, when the kaivalya takes place, there is no question of returning to the previous state at all. It is not like taking a herb or some medication, then going into a state of samadhi, but then after the medication goes away, you come back. No, it is not like this. There is a direct perception and the mind is resolved. It resolves by itself. Huh?
Chapter 1 is for born yogis.
Yeah.
But there are antarayas.
Yes. Because
What he says is cannot.
no, it is in the final stage. Once the Kaivalya is said, he is talking about what happens after the Kaivalya is reached. That is, once the Kaivalya is reached, it is you don't have to worry about, it's coming back. It is permanent. That's the whole idea. Prakritehe sukumarataram न किञ्चिदस्तीति मे मतिर्भवति या दृष्टास्मीति पुनर्न दर्शनम् उपैति पुरुषस्य दृष्टास्मीति पुनः न दर्शनम. Darshana here is experiences. It doesn't give any further experience to the Purusha. So that is why they are in a state of what you call Nirodha Samadhi or Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And sometimes when these yogis are in a state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, it is or Nirodha Samadhi, it is very difficult to wake them up. So even though they will be breathing and whatever the what you call the basic physiological functions will be there, it is very difficult to wake them up from that state of Samadhi. So because for them to feel any stimulus from the outside, the chitta will have to function. Chitta will have to function because the chitta is in a state of what you call equilibrium, sattva, rajas. None of them act. So even sometimes there are stories where in the Purana they say a particular yogi will be in a state of what you call in a state of samadhi, and somebody comes and then they try to disturb them. Then they don't wake up. They create a lot of noise. They create there are stories where story where what you call asuras come and they try to disturb them, then they are not disturbed at all. They stay there. But how is it possible? Because the chitta doesn't respond, does not react to all these things. Okay, like an arrow that falls at the feet of somebody who is attacked. Likewise, all the stimulus reach the mind, and then they don't they don't disturb the mind at all. Sometimes it happens when you are really concentrating on something, and if some other stimulus is there for the short period of time, you don't even know what happened, right? But then this becomes in the state of chitta vritti nirodha. So later on, when the physiological function requirements, like they feel hungry or whatever, they may wake up, they eat whatever little they need, and then they may get back into a stage of samadhi. For such people, because they have experienced the nature of the self, they can never be disturbed. They can never be disturbed the way we are being disturbed.
And then what happens if they are not wakened from the state of samadhi, the body perishes?
No. They will be there. They will be, as I told you, then after some time, they may feel hungry, they may wake up from that. So they may be there for 2-3 days, 5 days or whatever it be. They get up, take a little food from whatever is available around, and then they sit and then go back to their samadhi. There is nothing else to do with the outside world. There is nothing else to do. But still they have to continue to live. They continue to live. Okay. तस्मान्न बध्यते नापि मुच्यते नापि संसरति कश्चित् संसरति बध्यते मुच्यते च नानाश्रया प्रकृतिः 62 तस्मात् therefore कश्चित् means someone, which is Purusha here, na badhyate is never in bondage, because how can it be in bondage if it never undergoes any change? But then we think he is in bondage. That's a mistake. Everything that we do to remove that misconception about the nature of the self, right? Tasmat kasyit na badhyate na api muchyate, because it is not under bondage. There is no question of its being released also. Even that is only a feeling. Na api samsarati, the Purusha does not transmigrate. Okay. Not samsarati, because it doesn't feel happy or unhappy. Napi samsarati. Then which is the one that transmigrates? It is Sukshma Sharira, which is part of Prakriti. That's what it is. Prakriti hi samsarati. What transmigrates is the Prakriti. Badhyate muchyate cha. Prakriti is the one that binds itself by itself and releases itself by itself. How does it release by itself? By understanding the nature of the Purusha. Right? All the time it is binding itself, thinking that it is going to give experience to the Purusha. So it does lots of things. Then finally it is able to understand the true nature of the self. Once that is understood, then it is what do you call, it doesn't bind itself, it releases itself, it reaches the stage of Chittavarti Nirodha. Right? So far as the Purusha is concerned, Purusha is the cause for the misconception of this. Purusha is also the cause of release now. Tasmat kaschit na badhyate napi muchyate napi samsarati. So now what we have? Instead of saying that the Purusha is going to be released, we will find that the mind is going to be released. The mind which is in bondage now, because of the misconception, that is why they call it avidya. Because of the misconception about the nature of the self, it does a lot of things. Once the realization comes that the Purusha does not require anything to be done, then it releases itself. That spasm releases. Everybody is so tired, absolutely tired. Tasmanna badhyate. Napi muchyate. Napi samsarati. Kaschit. Samsarati badhyate. Muchyate cha. Nanashrayaha. Prakritihi. Tasmanna badhyate napi muchyata napi samsarati kaschit samsarati badhyate muchyate cha nanashraya prakritihi rupaihi saptabhirevatu badhnati atmanam atmana prakritihi saiva cha purushartham prati vimochayati ekarupena. Now you remember the shloka where Adhyavasayo buddhihi dharmo jnana viragam aishwaryam satvikam etat rupam tamasas tad viparyasam. In that particular shloka he talked about four different four different directions of the direction the buddhi can take: dharma, jnana, viraga, aishwarya, adharma, ajnana, aviraga, anaishwarya. These are the 9. The first 4 are said to be sattvic, the other 4 are said to be tamasic, right? Out of these 8, we have seen that there is only the jnana, mode, is the one that helps you to reach the other. So what he says is only jnana approach brings about the release. All the 7 continue to keep you in bondage. What are the other 7? Dharma. If you are a very dharmic person, yes, you will be still in bondage. Only thing is you will be going to higher places and probably experience more happiness. Dharma. Then when you follow adharma, the opposite of that, you go to places where you are going to experience a lot of unhappiness, much more than what you experience as a human being. Adharma. Then when you are an ajnana, then you will continue to consider the body to be the self and do everything to satisfy the non-existing non-existing self of the prakriti. Right? Then jnana, ajnana, viraga. When you develop viraga, you get into prakritilaya. That prakritilaya is not a complete release, right? Prakritilaya means you go back into one part of, you merge with yourself into one part of one aspect of prakriti. Okay. Then aviraga. Aviraga, naturally, aviraga will lead you to more and more bondage. Then we got the next one, aishwarya. What is aishwarya? Aishwarya is the various siddhis, You are a yogi, you have got the capacity to contemplate, you can go into samadhi, but then you don't use your samadhi capability to to understand the nature of the self, prakriti purusha viveka jnana. You don't do that. That's the mother of all siddhis. The mother of all siddhis is to see the distinction between prakriti and purusha. Instead of that, what do? I go after various aspects of prakriti and attain mastery. I am able to walk over water. The hundreds, the number of siddhis that are mentioned in the Yoga Sutras, they are called Siddha. That doesn't lead to, so there is even the Yoga Sutras, it says this, okay. See, these are all only binding, and then you must use this samadhi capability for chitta vritti nirodha, right? So this is what he tries to explain, okay. Out of the various, what you call the attitudes of chitta, sattvic and tamasic attitudes, 7 are will lead you, will keep you in bondage, and some of them are worse than the others. Being a dharmic person is better than being a adharmic person, because you will not suffer so much. But then dharma is binding only. If you are a very dharmic person, what can you become? You become an Indra. After your dharma is used up, what will you become? You also, all of you know that you will become an ant. So it is not a permanent solution. Dharma is not a permanent solution. So it doesn't mean that I should not do dharma. It is good, but at the same time I must also start taking care of myself. I can't be a dharma until my 80th year and then still continue to. It's good. You'll go to a better place. That's fine. But who takes care of you? When you take care of other people, you are doing dharma. Then who takes care of you? Yes, sir.
Sāṁkhya and yoga are kind of fit.
Yeah.
But there is a point where yoga moves away from Sāṁkhya in some aspects. Like they say that the first 22 sutras are Sāṁkhya philosophy, Altapri Ishvara.
Yeah.
So like that, even Vairagya, for example, they say Parakashta Vairagyam also, it can also lead to, so these are the differences?
No. You know, so far as the Vairagya is concerned, they are very clear, but they are in harmony, they are in unison. You know, there they also talk about the Paravairagya and Aparavairagya. Here also he used the word Vairagya, when it is used in the context of what you call Prakriti Laya, it is Aparavairagya. Okay, Aparavairagya is what leads to, that is why there also he use the word Vairagya, and then he says, Tatparam Purusha Kyatehe Vaitirisham. He says, the Vairagya that arises after the realization of the nature of the soul is definitely superior, because it's going to be permanent. Amama, 4 levels of Vairagya are mentioned in the Vyasa's commentary, are mentioned there. 63. Prakritihi eva tu purushartham. That's what I explained now. Prakritihi eva, the Prakriti alone, tu certainly, purushartham, for the sake of Purusha. What is Purushartha here? It is Kaivalya. Purushartham prati. Is it clear? No? Alright, I'll read this as 63. Rupaihi sapta, you know, the what you call the Anvaya is slightly different, you know. We start with the first word, Prakriti Reva, the Prakriti alone, to surely, Purushartham, for the sake of Purusha, for the release of Purusha, or for the Kaivalya Purusha, Prati, Saptabihi Rupaihi, Prati, for towards that end, Saptabihi Rupaihi in 7 different forms. Atmana Atmanam Badhnati. Atmana means by itself. Atmanam itself. It binds by itself. We have already seen that Prakriti binds itself. So, Atmanam Badhnati. Sayeva, the same Prakriti. Ekarupena, by one form, which will be Jnana. By one form, Vimochayati. It is able to release itself. Right? Rupaihi saptabhirevatu. Badhnati. Atmanam. Atmana prakritihi. Saivacha Purushartham. Prati Vimochayati. Ekarupena. So it's very clear that everybody will have to understand the true nature of the self. I got to make my buddhi sattvic, and then with the sattvic mind I have to understand. There is no other go. There is no other go. Nobody can help. Nobody can help. Everybody will have to help oneself, right? And then there is only one marga. Dharma marga won't work. Adharma, it doesn't work. Vairagya, apara vairagya doesn't work. Then what is the other one? We are attaining various siddhis. You go to a siddha course, you go to a siddha course, you become a siddha purusha. No, it is not the final end. So the seven methods, the four sattvic methods, the three sattvic methods and the four tamasic approaches will keep you under bondage. The tamasic, tamasic approaches will make you more and more unhappy. The sattvic approaches may make you less unhappy, but at the same time, it will not give you permanent release that they are talking about. Only jnana, only the understanding of the nature of the self and the 24 tattvas of Prakriti will help you to, to release that chittavritti nirodha.